The Woodstock Fruit Festival was my dream of bringing together people who believe in a fruit and vegetable based diet, a diet that's comprised of nothing but raw fruits and vegetables. I want to thank you for making this trip. And whether you realize it or not, your attendance at this festival has a larger purpose and benefit than for yourself. By being here together, we are building a large snowball. You can be a lighthouse to others who still struggle in finding better health.
For my own personal progression, I really went a long roundabout route in dietary modification, starting from eating pretty much the same way as everybody else in America eats. Pretty much thinking I was eating a healthy diet, as almost everyone does. I adopted vegetarianism and then started hearing about veganism and then raw foods and decided to experiment some with the raw food diet. And I didn't understand the science that supported raw foods at the time. It just seemed like the right thing to do, perhaps, or at least experiment and see how I like to eat. You know, everybody says eat more fruits and vegetables. And I'm thinking, well, gee, what would happen if I actually, instead of just said, eat more fruits and vegetables, what would happen if I actually did eat more fruits and vegetables? So I just started experimenting with that, and I loved the results. The sports scientists clearly demonstrated that the uptake of oxygen and glucose, fuel for our cells, the uptake, transport, and delivery of these two items was enhanced when the amount of fat in the diet was reduced. I took that information and said, gee, I wonder what would happen if we did that as raw food vegans. Athletes went nuts. PRs became the norm. Personal bests became the norm. We haven't even yet explored the range of how long do we extend athletic careers. I mean, I'm still performing reasonably well at 59. I've got lots of top-notch athletes in their 40s who are still competing against kids internationally and winning against kids who are in their 20s. And so we don't really know what kind of an extension has actually occurred because we haven't hit the end of it yet.
Come on.
4,
Yeah.
5. Very good, very good.
I'll be lifting and people come up to me, they're like, I bet you got a lot of, eat a lot of protein. You must eat a lot of red meat. I tell them I'm training for a powerlifting competition. They're like, well, are you eating a lot of meat and stuff? No, I'm like, I'm eating fruits and vegetables. And they're like, oh, you mean you add protein supplements to your, I'm like, no. When I was about 14, maybe 15 years old, I wasn't feeling well at all. I was over 320 pounds overweight. I had terrible acne all over my face. I couldn't breathe through my nose for the first 16, 17 years of my life. I had terrible sinus conditions, asthma, depression, high blood pressure, just not a happy childhood. Going from that to a fruit and vegetable-based diet, it was just kind of like, like reading on the internet of like, oh man, people can actually live on raw foods, just fruits and vegetables, and I just thought that was the craziest thing, and so I just had to find out what that was about. And the weight just started coming off effortlessly as I was pretty much eating as much food as I possibly could get a hold of, and just changed the foods that I was eating. From there, it was just kind of a steady, feeling better and better almost every single day. My digestion, the way I felt and the way I looked, like I actually wanted to go outside and do something, whereas before, it was hard to get me off the couch to quit playing Xbox. My goal is to really just try to inspire people to lead the healthy lifestyle that everyone wants to really live. And I'm not trying to get people, tell them what to think. I'm just trying to get people to think and inspire them to really, take astonishingly good care of themselves and get the amazing results they would get from doing so.
I think that my life was very similar to how most weekend warrior athletes' lives were. They read the magazines about eating healthy, they read about how to work out better and make improvements in their life. And these things were generally, small changes in nature where I would cut out red meat, I'd shun the French fries most of the time, I wouldn't go for the cream cheese, I'd go for the jelly. And I did okay, I was okay, and I thought it was normal, and I thought I ate pretty healthy until I learned about a fruit-based diet.
Michael's wife had read my book. I don't know where she got it, but she read the book. She thought it would be perfect for Michael more than for herself.
And I told her that I couldn't learn anything else about diet, but she said, Michael, you must read this because you don't know everything about diet.
Michael did the experiment. He tried the diet basically the way it was laid out in the book. He just said, let's see what happens. He watched his marathon time just plummet, and he was shocked, literally shocked, and didn't look back. He started running marathons on Saturday, winning, and then running marathons on Sunday and winning. And said, you know what, I want to try longer races, and went to double marathons and triple marathons and quadruple marathons.
For some people who don't know what an ultra marathon is, it's basically taking your body past the limits of what your mind believes it can do. So for most people, that's more than a marathon. Most people would never consider running more than a marathon. That's the ultimate challenge. How could you go beyond that? And then there's some people that figure 50 miles is the furthest you can go. And now I've run 100-mile races. I've run races that are 135-mile races. I run for more than 24 hours without stopping. I run for more than 30 hours without stopping. I don't put limits on what's possible anymore.
The ultra events really caught his attention. He's running 100-mile races. You start running 100-mile races in a work day, right? He's doing it in sub 20 hours. And the next day running a marathon.
I just went full force overnight, and it's been almost 5 years, and it's changed everything in me and about me as a person. I think a lot of what I do athletically these days, whether it's run 100 miles or 135 miles or run, many hundreds of miles in a very short period of time in a few days, is more about me trying to show others that if there was a deficiency in my body in how I'm eating after nearly 5 years, that pushing myself so far beyond anybody's conceived limits of what's possible is proof that you might not agree with my diet being socially acceptable or that it's something that is ideal in certain situations, but nobody can challenge that my diet is not healthy.
Tomato. Oh, for me? As any parent, you have fears. You want to do what's best for your children. And we weren't certain, we had some fears about, because it's like we're breaking new ground here, especially with the children. And Allison she ate meat because we were not on a vegan diet when she was born. And so she ate meat maybe for a year. Henry never has. And they have both been very close to a raw vegan for maybe 4 years. And everything we've checked with the doctors and everything, their health is really good. As far as physically, they're extraordinary, and they're very...
And once you do the brachiation and you're able to get a good grip, you can do the stretch through like this. Oh. See that? Looking around. Yeah, and coming down, do the windmill. And then slowly down. It's a good stretch for the abdominals.
You could also just take the plate.
It's not bad for a 68-year-old.
It's pretty good.
Well, I think our goal should be, see, how can we influence the mainstream, you know, the people out there that are virtually habituated or addicted to the cooked food diet.
You know, it used to be just 10% of the world that had a problem, and now soon it's going to be 90% of the world.
That's it, and the healthcare system is going to collapse as a consequence of it. You know, it just can't keep up. They can't keep building facilities to try and.
It's collapsing now.
It is. You know, it's the same in Australia too.
I mean, it's code red time, you know? Every single person that came here, every one of us is a pioneer. So when you leave here, you need to talk to people. You need to tell them, not that you just had a good time, but that you experience a different way of life that isn't just some fringe, unusual diet that a couple people follow. It's the future.
Visionary.